Welcome to Codex History of Video Games. I'm Mike Coletta.
And I'm Tyler Osby.
And today we're doing a good old-fashioned mailbag episode because it's the
a
new
mailbag.
year.
Yeah.
And we got a bunch of emails in this last week, and I was like, you know what? We should read them.
Yeah, we got some emails to churn through here. Thanks for sending us emails.
Yeah, we love it. Do you want to read Jose's email?
Yeah, let me pull up Jose's email. Hi, Jose says, "Hi guys. Now that you've finished Console Wars, I'd like to suggest the book Creating Q*bert and Other Classic Video Arcade Games by arcade pioneer and Q*bert creator Warren Davis. Side note, I'm pretty sure Q*bert is a Jaybird knockoff. Is that right, Mike?
That's correct. 100% a ripoff of Jaybird. Yes, it is.
The greatest game ever made. The book talks about him working at Gottlieb during the golden era of arcades, how Q*bert came to be, the Laserdisc fad and the game that he made, and how that later got him a job at Midway developing digitizing tools used in games like Terminator 2, Revolution X, NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat, etc. It's not as huge as console Wars, but I think it would be a good fit for your show. Thank you for your time, Jose." Thanks, Jose. That sounds like a great book for us to check out.
That's a perfect fit for our show. Jose, you just nailed it. I'm going to put this on the book list on our episode ideas sheet. And yeah, I mean, I'm down for kind of a lighter book.
Yeah.
If we can do it, because Console Wars was pretty beefy. That was a pretty big book.
Console Wars took us a while. It took us a while to get through both of the Ultimate History of Video Games books too. Those are it's just big. It just takes a while, you know.
They are, and to do it in like 45-minute to an hour-long episode is kind of hard. That's kind of what we shoot for every week. So yeah, it would be nice to just do a little quick one. But I love that email. Thank you, Jose. Next one is from Sean. The subject is Unreal Engine. "Hi guys, have you done an episode on the history of the Unreal Engine? Seems like it is the basis of a lot of games these days. I remember playing Unreal Tournament back in the day on PC and even doing some minor dabbing in level design with it. Or the Half-Life game editor, they also add. Would be interesting to know if it was always destined to be a behemoth it is today, or hopefully there's a Console Wars type backstory of intrigue and backstabbing. Spider butts, Sean."
Thanks, Sean.
I think I would hope there's also like a Console Wars-esque thing, but really I think it just became like a Titan, you know?
Yeah, I think it was kind of always that was always the plan, was for it to be an engine that the folks over at Epic could sort of like license out. I've been reading Cliff Bleszinski's memoirs, I guess, and he talks a lot about the early days of Epic and when they were making Unreal. Like the game Unreal was really just like a way to show off what the Unreal Engine could do, although they were very fun games, and Cliff did a good job designing them. That was like always the plan, was for that engine to be used in other stuff.
Yeah, I think this is a good note. Also, I think we have another email recommending the Unreal Engine we're going to read in a bit. So this is definitely like a double recommended thing that we need to discuss, for sure.
Yep.
Also, we never got around to playing Unreal Tournament, which was a bummer, but it turns out the holidays happened and things got crazy, just trying to align schedules. So if you are looking forward to playing Unreal Tournament with us, we're still trying to make that happen.
Yeah,
we're just trying to find a time where we all can, essentially.
Yep. I would love to, because they're shutting it down early this year.
Oh, so it'll be this year. So we're
like
really
February,
on the clock now. Okay, so we got all of January to figure out when we're going to play Unreal Tournament. We're going to do it. We're going to figure it out.
Yep. The next email is from Alexa. The subject is Codex, the video game suggestion. So Alexa writes, "Hey, Michael and Tykel, still catching up on all the episodes, but I recently listened to your episode on the Codex game, and I thought of what I think is a cool idea. One thing I hadn't heard mentioned yet are the weapons that are in the game. Since the game as a whole is very meta in regards to its presentation, it makes sense for the weapons to also be meta, huh? You guys mentioned that the levels in the game were going to be graphically based on different generations, so I thought it would be cool having at least a couple of weapons that have their power based on the level's graphical style. The idea that initially came to mind is a shotgun that shoots out an amount of pellets equal to the bit value of the level, i.e. on the 8-bit level, it would shoot 8 pellets, on the 16-bit, 16 pellets, and so on. Another one I thought of was a weapon that deals more damage the more different colors are on the enemy's color palette. Wow, those are very meta. This. Yeah, those are great ideas. And then so you get to like Nintendo 64 and this thing's just blasting pellets everywhere.
Shoot 64 pellets at you. Yep. Watch out.
Yeah, that's a lot of particles on the screen. Okay. Alexa goes on to say, on the other hand, you could also have weapons that start strong but get weaker the further the game...
Lamar is the doorman at the hotel the band stays at in California. He seems to see all and know all.
Thanks.
She's doing it again, I guess. Thanks a lot, Tyler's Amazon device.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to we can't say that name. I need to just mute my smart speaker in here. Okay. She writes, on the other hand, you could also have weapons that start strong but get weaker the further the game progresses. I imagine a gun that's very strong but can overheat if you fire long enough and is one of the better weapons early game. However, as the graphical fidelity of the levels progress, the faster gun overheats because higher fidelity equals more processing power required to run and thus more heat generated. Anyway, just a couple of fun thoughts I had. I'm not caught up yet, so if something like this has already been mentioned, I apologize. Black Widow booties, Alexa from the Bay Area. Uh-oh.
It hasn't been mentioned, Alexa, but that's fantastic suggestions. Love it.
Yeah.
I can say that name, by the way, because I have mine unplugged in my room.
I should just hit the mute button on mine. This happened last time, too, didn't it?
It really did. Anytime Alexa emails, we got to be on guard.
Yeah.
Because Amazon's going to start talking to us.
Yeah. Well, those are great ideas. I like the overheating gun also.
Yeah. Did we talk about the weapons really we didn't really talk about weapons that much.
No, I don't think so, because we weren't 100% sure what genre, like if it was going to be morphing genres and stuff, I think. That was a while ago.
It was a long time ago. I can't even remember the episodes. I think we hadn't done something and then we totally covered it like a year ago and I forget. So That's where we're at with the show.
There are a lot of episodes.
Sure are. Well, thank you for the email, Alexa. All right, moving on to Joel's email. The subject line is Toys to Life Games. Howdy, Joel from the horrific, insane Daedric realm known as Texas here. Trying to keep it a bit shorter for y'all's sanity, so here we go. So, y'all talk about short-lived trends that died suddenly or faded away, like plastic instrument games that y'all lived through. While I was certainly alive for that, the trend I lived through personally was toys to life, namely Skylanders, the big boy, Lego Dimensions, and Disney Infinity. They appeared, were pretty expensive, and then went away suddenly. Pretty curious how it all went down, so maybe y'all could talk about that. Golden Spider Butch, which are worth ×3. Joel, champion of the arena. Fazbear, security guard. Totally feeling like a hero. P.S. Fun fact, Portal 2 not only appears in Lego Dimensions, but it serves quite a bit of a role in the game's story. GLaDOS also gets a song at the end credits, just like in the games, like the Portal games. How nice. That's a great little thing.
Maybe you should play some Lego Dimensions.
What's funny is I miss this toys. I know with Nintendo, they have amiibos. That was their kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you could call those toys, but they're like statues. And I know amiibos are still a thing, right? They still have amiibo support on Switch. They do that.
Yes, they do. Yeah, the amiibo thing is like similar, like technology-wise, to the Toys to Life thing. But I don't think Nintendo ever actually made Toys to Life. Although the Smash Bros is kind of like that, like, you know, with the hand and stuff. So
yeah, that's kind of like the digital idea of where this came from. I think I never really knew what Skylanders was. I would see it in the toy aisle and in GameStop, and I'm like, what is this? And I had no clue it connected with the video game until like it was well past its prime. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I think those are a little bit after our time, because those are aimed, I think, at younger kids, and we were older by then with the Toys to Life stuff. But I can imagine it was a big fad for a little while, and then probably the reason it faded out is because kids got over it, and the younger kids got over it too, as their older siblings got over it, and so they wanted to be cool too, so they couldn't play with baby stuff like Skylanders, even though that's exactly what their older siblings played with at their age. And then it just died out after that. I think that's what happens.
Just went the way of the dodo, and it's gone. Lego Dimensions and Disney Infinity were also very popular. I think I saw more Disney Infinity, though, than Lego Dimensions.
Yeah, I saw a lot of Skylanders and Disney Infinity around. But I just, like, my explanation there is totally from my brain. This would be an interesting thing to dive into and see if that's actually what happened there.
Yeah, totally. I think we should definitely check this out, and I will put it on our list. I love that. I love that so much. Thank you, Joel. Sorry you live in the Daedric realm known as Texas. Oblivion. You know, the cool part about a Daedric realm being Texas is you could cook a brisket way faster, probably.
That's true.
But that would be bad because then it would cook too fast. Anyway, this isn't a cooking podcast. Let's read the next email.
Our next email is from John here. The subject is Kokomo, Indiana Pinball Update. He writes, first off, hi again. I am originally from Indiana, born and raised in Fort Wayne, which is about 1.5 northeast of Kokomo, 1.5 miles northeast of Kokomo. When I first heard the pinball thing 2 years ago, I planned the next time I go see my family, I am going to make a trip down to Kokomo and to see if I can find a pinball machine to play and ask people what happened. Fast forward to earlier this year, I finally remembered while I was in Indiana to go to Kokomo and find a pinball machine. I made the drive down and I tried coming up with where do you find pinball machines? I know everyone is thinking it. Walmart.
Walmart?
Yeah. I made the drive down. I tried coming up with where do you find pinball machines? And I know everyone is thinking it. Walmart. A lot of Walmarts in Indiana have random small arcades. I don't know why I never see anyone in there, but no pinball. So I try the bowling alley and movie theater. Nothing. I give up my search and go back to my hometown. Fast forward to now, I booted up everyone's favorite browser, Bing, and found out there is now an arcade that opened in a comic book shop about 3 months ago and saw a picture of a pinball machine. So next time I go back to the Crossroads State, I will for sure go play pinball in the infamous, nefarious town that Jimmy Buffett sung about, Kokomo, Indiana.
That's what Kokomo was about. Everyone knows. Everyone knows,
yeah. Now, why it lasted so long here is the answer people forgot. It was a thing until the Hero Common Council member Steve Weichart was cleaning up outdated codes and found this one and put out an ordinance to lift the ban. So thank you, Steve, for freeing the Kokomo people. John, originally from Indiana, now from Wisconsin. Thank you, John.
That is so interesting to me.
Yeah. So it's just they just forgot about it. They're just like they weren't enforcing it. They just sort of forgot that they had banned pinball machines.
But it sounds like there were no pinball machines. Like people were following the orders.
Oh, yeah.
On accident.
Yeah. So I imagine pinball, like after being banned in Kokomo, sort of never took off, and then there was never a reason to bring a pinball machine in because nobody was playing pinball, and so they just sort of kept it going. Just
kind of forgot about it. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for the update, John. It's glad to know we have a reporter in Indiana to help us out with this.
Yeah.
Also, who knew Walmart? Walmart would have pinball machines, but I do know they had the small arcades. I remember that.
Yeah, there's the Walmart in my hometown had a little small arcade there. That one closed down. The new one might too. I don't know.
Interesting.
But I never see anybody playing in there either.
Yeah, man. You don't really see a lot of people playing in the movie theater arcades either anymore.
Nope.
The machines are still there. It's just it's kind of sad,
Yeah.
All right, this next one is from Mark. And the subject line of the email is Perfect Dark, Eveline Fisher. Hi, Mike and Tyler. Love the podcast. Thanks for giving us all something to look forward to on Mondays. Well, thank you. Love the episode on Perfect Dark. I played it a lot on N64 when it came out. Mike mentioned that Eveline Novakovic, now Fisher, was her voice actor. She's done a few interesting interviews about her time at Rare that are floating around on YouTube. Though she is classically trained composer, she worked on the music for Donkey Kong Country, Tyler, with David Wise, who wrote Tyler's beloved Sticker Bush Symphony.
The best song.
And found she also loved designing the game's sound effects. Naturally, she later jumped on the opportunity to voice Joanna Dark, which was a crucial element of the game's sound design. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, I didn't realize that composers for the video games I loved were also the creators of the sound effects. I watched the credits roll at the end of many games, hoping to see who created the music, only to be baffled that they were not listed. Well, now I know that they were, but the term sound composer, in quotes, was used. That really threw me off. Truthfully, that's a fitting term because it gives composers credit for the huge impact they have on the games. Eveline Fisher also composed the soundtrack for Donkey Kong Country 3, which features her own rendition of the Peach's Castle theme from Mario 64, which Mark linked for us in this email, which is really nice of him to do. Wrinkly Kong has an N64 in her save cave, shamelessly promoting the new system, which had already been out for 2 months. All the best and spider butts, Mark. Thank you, Mark.
I remember that too, going into Wrinkly Kong's save cave and being like, wait a minute, is that Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64?
I love that. I think that's so funny.
Yeah,
that they did this. That's such a good point, though. That composers made sound effects as well as music. It's not just. It's all for this case.
It's just all encompassing audio engineers.
Yeah, I love that. Also, that to get a little nod to Sticker Bush Symphony in an email. You know, that's why you're here, Tyler. Every week.
Yep, we always need to mention Sticker Bush Symphony in every episode.
If you don't do it, what's even the point? Okay?
Right. Everybody needs to know about this song, and if you haven't listened to it, you can put it on right now. I'm sure there's a 10-hour loop of it on YouTube that you can just run all the time.
I will go through the Discord and see if anyone's posted this song yet for Donkey Kong Country, the Peach's Castle theme from Mario 64 in the Donkey Kong Country 3 that Mark linked, and I will post it if Mark hasn't already. So, cool. That's a good email, though. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, next email here is from James, and it is titled Serendipity. It is a long one. Hello, Mike and Tyler. This is my first email to you. I've been listening to your podcast for the last 6 months, making my way through most of the back episodes while I work. I have not gotten through all of them, skipping some of the episodes about specific games that are not as much of interest to me as others. That is perfectly okay.
Totally reasonable. Yeah, totally reasonable. We get it. You don't want to listen to something that you're not interested in. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't listen if you don't want to. James goes on to say, it has been interesting listening to the older episodes and seeing what has changed compared to newer episodes, as well as what changed in the industry as a whole. I really enjoy the podcast for a lot of reasons, but the more I listen and learn about the two of you and your enjoyment of the hobby and history of gaming, the more I find it has been nothing short of serendipity that I found your podcast and have enjoyed it. I was surprised to hear Mike is a paraprofessional, as my wife is one as well, and I was surprised to hear that Tyler works for Riot, as one of my best friends just left another gaming company, which shall remain nameless, to take a position at Riot Games. Welcome. But just this last week, now that I'm caught up and listening to the podcast in real time, I decided to finally write an email to you. This is when I had serendipity overload. Of the many, many things I would like to talk about with you, one has been clanking around in my head is the fact that one of my all-time favorite FPS games, and one that I have thought you two would love, has only been mentioned once that I have found so far. Again, I haven't listened to every episode yet. And it seems to have been missed by the two of you. As I was thinking how to bring this up, you did back-to-back episodes that let me know it was time. The FPS tier list, of which the game in question was absent, and the Forgotten Game episode of Perfect Dark. The game I am speaking of course, is Time Splitters. Oh yeah, did we talk about Time Splitters? We didn't talk about it.
I don't think we did. I think we goofed. I think James caught us on a goof.
Yeah.
You know
it was that series was made by Free Radical, which is a lot of ex-Rare devs, especially the people who worked on their FPS games. But I guess not related to Perfect Dark. Other than that, yeah, we didn't talk about that. Anyway, James goes on to say. First, while I get it that it was never as big of an FPS series as Call of Duty or Modern Warfare, Time Splitters 2 has the highest Metacritic score of any FPS on the PS2. While the series was done in by the third installment, which was not up to the standards of the first two, the series as a whole is amazing, with great gameplay, wild game modes, humor, crazy characters, and a lot of ways to spend time with friends. You may be asking yourself, though, what does this have to do with Perfect Dark? Well, when I was listening to that episode, being how I did not play much of that game, a description kept having me say, sounds a lot like Time Splitters to me. Sure enough, all the pieces came together when you said that half the dev team for Perfect Dark left Rare and formed Free Radical. This is the studio that made Time Splitters, which was later picked up by a small company called Crytek to work on a project called Crysis 2. I know that rings a bell. All of this told me I must email you. I hope this is not too long, but if you have never indulged into some time splitting, I suggest giving it a try. If you liked Perfect Dark, you will love Time Splitters as well. Again, sorry for such a long email. I hope that at least some of it will be read. The whole thing's going to be read, James. May all the spider butts come your way. James from Colorado. Thanks, James.
Thank you, James. I want to play this game now. You sold me, James. You sold me.
I wish the second one went online. I've played it a little bit. I have the second one. The campaign is fun because every level is like a different period of time in history. So the weapons are all different. There's future things. There's past things. It's really fun. But I've only really played the second one. But the multiplayer feels a lot like the continuation of the GoldenEye Perfect Dark sort of style of multiplayer FPS.
Are these available on PC? I don't see it being available on PC.
No, they were just console games. I mean, the first one is only on PS2.
That's hard. That's going to be hard to play, but I'll do it. I'll try.
You can play the PS2 one or the GameCube one in emulators. Oh, after buying the game, of course, because we don't
legally right. Purchasing the game. Very good, Tyler. Yes.
Right. I can send you my copy of it so that you can just put it next to your computer while you play.
That sounds great. That sounds like a great plan. Yeah, I just looked in Steam out of curiosity and it's not there. So definitely.
It's too bad.
I mean, that is too bad. But I mean, this seems like a game that we just completely missed. And I'm glad. I mean, realistically, we didn't talk about it on our tier list. Like, if we'd have thought of this and it came up, we probably wouldn't have included it still because we don't have experience with it. Like, you have a little bit with it, but I don't. And so those first-person shooter games we had on that tier list were very much, we played those and we felt like we could talk about them. But this is a great episode idea, and it's going on the list. Gosh, I'm going to have so much stuff to put on the list when this episode's done. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it would be fun to talk about Free Radical, I think, and then how they got picked up by Crytek. They are Crytek UK. That's what they were called after they were bought. I don't know if they're still called that, but
yeah, I mean, I love this. We're kind of branching into talking about studios and stuff and engines, and I like that as a direction we can go on the podcast because just talking about a game series is a little. It's just hard to encapsulate everything in there. And sometimes there really is no history, especially with this older stuff. Like the Qbert thing that Jose mentioned in the previous email is exciting to me because we actually get word from the creator, which for those older games, we just don't have a lot of the time. Yep.
That's very, very cool. Free Radical also made Haze on the PS3. Do you remember that game?
I do remember that, but I never played it. It was just like,
it's not very good.
In passing. Yeah.
Yeah. It was supposed to be like the PlayStation's answer to Halo. This was when Halo killers were still like
Killzone. It was like Killzone, like that kind of too. Yeah, where that was supposed to be the answer to it.
Yeah, and then Haze.
We could do a whole episode on Halo killers.
Oh, that would be a great idea.
Or we'll call them Halo attempted murderers, is what we'll call them.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'll put that on the list as well. Okay, so this next email is from Martin from Oregon, and it's called Gamer Time Lord. Hey guys, Martin from Oregon here. I have a fun thought experiment for you. You ready for a thought experiment, Tyler?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine, if you will, that you are some sort of gamer time lord who has one important task to complete. The task is to bring one video game of your choice back to the late 1970s with the goal of blowing people's minds by showing them what video games would become in the future. My question is, what game would you choose to bring and why? And there's a bunch of questions here. So I'm going to read through all the questions and then we'll go through, okay?
Okay.
Would you show them some sort of visually stunning and graphically beautiful game to showcase the powerful games engines of the future? Would you show them something with awesome gameplay to showcase the evolution of gaming platforms in general? Would you show them an MMO to showcase the global interconnectivity of the internet in the future and how it has woven itself into gaming culture? Would you show them something with an amazing story to showcase the intricacy of blending games with emotional and engaging literary devices? I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this. Anyway, keep up the awesome work and have an amazing day. Hot takes and hot cakes, Martin from Oregon. P.S. Spider butts. I love that.
Dang, this is a great question.
Yeah, it's such a good question. So I have one that just instantly popped in my head when I heard the first question. And I'm going to spit that out if that's okay with you.
Yes.
Portal 2.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Because it's an example of gameplay. It's got good graphics. It has a great story. And the only thing it's missing, I think, is that interconnectivity. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if an MMO is a good choice to blow people's minds because, okay, so I'm going to time jump down to the 1970s and bring like 1,000 computers with me and everyone's going to just play WoW or something. I just don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah. Well, and there's also so late 70s, lots of people would still have never even heard of a video game. So like Atari was out, but I don't know how popular it was. It's no guarantee that everybody knows what a video game is, right? So when you show them this, you may also need to explain what video games are. And so they're not even going to be able to appreciate the jump in like graphic fidelity. That doesn't mean anything to them, right? Because they don't have anything to compare it to, other than if you just showed them an Atari, I guess. So you got to show them something that like makes sense to the context of things that they know in the 70s. And that's why I think you got to take like VR. You have to take something that they can put on and then like it makes sense to them when they look through it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so are you talking like Beat Saber? You talking Half-Life Alyx? You talking what are you talking about here?
Yeah, that's a good question. Now, the exact game I would bring, Beat Saber is probably a good one, just because it showcases.
It's intuitive.
It's intuitive, right? Because again, these are people that have never held a controller before. Probably, if they've held an Atari controller, it's like a joystick with one button, right? So you have to show them something that makes sense in the context of what they know. So. You can't.
Yeah, I can't put a controller in their hand and be like, "You guys can figure out dual analog sticks. You got this."
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna go get go disco or something while I wait for you.
You could show them something like, "Oh, yeah, this is The Last of Us Part 2, right?" And like the graphics are so good, and they're like it. They aren't able to appreciate how good the graphics are. It just looks like a bad movie to them, probably like a weird looking movie, right? And
that's a good point. That would be a great insult for someone who loves The Last of Us right now.
Because they'd be like, why does it's a movie, why does it look like that? And then I guess you'd have to like explain, well, no, see, in this part you can actually control, and maybe that part will blow their mind, I guess. So in that case, you could probably take anything from, the last couple of years, and that's going to be sufficiently mind-blowing as anything else, I guess, right?
I just now want to go up to someone who loves Last of Us and be like, why do you play this terrible-looking movie?
Yeah.
See what they say.
This movie just looks bad.
So how about we try this then? How about we take each question and pick a game that we would show for each one, just for funsies.
Okay.
Does that sound fun to you?
Sure.
So first, graphically stunning. What game would you pick that's graphically stunning?
This is gonna be a weird one because again, I think you need to show them something that makes sense with the context. I'd probably show them like Donkey Kong Country because it looks enough like a game that they could recognize it as a video game, probably. And then you can be like, this is what, like, here's Atari, right? You're like running and jumping on Atari. Like, here's where that leads. And then you can say it gets actually a lot different and better than this even. But I think that's something you could show that would sufficiently blow their mind in a way that they can understand. Does that make sense?
See, and I was thinking kind of in the same vein of not going too far, like not going ultra realism, go like Breath of the Wild, like something highly stylized.
Yeah. That's a good idea too. Yeah, you could do something like that. I think you show them something super realistic and they'll just be like, it either looks real to them because they are unable to like see the things that we see in something that let us know that it's not real because we have so much experience with watching fake people in video games. But they wouldn't have that context. So it might just look real to them,
Yeah.
Especially if you're showing it on like an old 70s TV.
Definitely. Oh man, we got to plug this into the CRT. Yeah.
I know.
All right. Would you show them something with awesome gameplay to showcase the evolution of gaming platforms in general? So what's something with really good gameplay? I'm thinking I'm going simple here. And because we're talking about people from the 1970s. Mm-hmm. And this would be kind of intuitive too. A touchscreen game like for phones, like Angry Birds, or something that's just
great
like
idea.
Really addictive, but like fun. And because I know people. I played Angry Birds Star Wars for the longest time. It's a pretty fun game. It's fun, minus weird microtransaction stuff, but it's fun.
Yeah, I think for that reason, like Candy Crush might be good too because that's a puzzle game that you could teach them to play pretty quickly and intuitively they can do it with a touch. That's a good call.
Yeah, I think a mobile game would be a good way to showcase gameplay for sure. Okay, so now here's the big thing, Tyler. What MMO are you showing them?
This is a thing I think it doesn't matter what you show them because they just don't have the context to understand why this is even impressive.
What if it was just I just log in? Okay, in this situation, our computers can also travel into the future. Our internet connection is traveling into the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's people playing it in our timeline.
Yeah.
Right. I would just have them log in, and I would log in next to them on a different computer, and I would just walk them through Stormwind in WoW. This is the city of Stormwind. Just be like, we're gonna take the train together, and we're gonna just pal out in this city.
Yeah,
as a way to we won't even fight anything. Maybe I'll end by putting them on a dragon mount or something. Just that.
Then they can fly around a little bit and you can be like, this is what video games are like in the future. I think that's good for all of the other things too. Like it's the awesome gameplay as well. Regardless of what your thoughts are on WoW gameplay, I think it would showcase evolution of gameplay at least.
I'm surprised. I just thought you were going to push Final Fantasy 14 here again, real hard with the Final Fantasy paint.
Like I said, I think it doesn't matter which one because their minds will only be able to be blown so far before it's just magic.
That's right. So now the last one, amazing story. For this, there's two ways I could go. I could go like visual novel, Telltale Games-esque style, or I could just pick my favorite story. And I'm leaning towards the Titanfall 2 campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I'm such a sucker for that campaign that I want to show that to people all the time.
Yeah, yeah. You could do like Last of Us as well. I think that's a story in a game that you could get other people involved in, or something like Red Dead, because they'll be familiar with Westerns, right? So like they'll know those,
that's a
like,
good
they'll
point.
have context to be able to appreciate, oh, you could tell a really good Western story.
That's a really good point, because Westerns are like prime time in like the 70s, 60s and 70s, I think. They're still pumping out like big Western movies. So yeah, I think Red Dead's the choice, man. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I think, yeah. And that you could show that for all of the things probably, and that would showcase a lot of, good gameplay, very visually stunning, good story. Even Red Dead Online has MMO elements, right?
That's true. We could have just skipped all this and gone straight to Red Dead Online.
Yeah,
we missed it.
Maybe we just
answered Martin's question.
Yeah. I'm glad we talked through all of that, because that's probably a really good. And I don't mean to say like people in the 70s are dumb when I say they won't be able to appreciate it, but you can only make comparisons to things that you're familiar with, the things you're comparing, right?
Yeah, it's like if an alien came down now and showed me a technology I'd never seen using like senses I'd never knew, I wouldn't understand.
Yeah, and they'd be like, see how far it's come? And you're like, I don't even know what it is to begin with. Yeah,
what is this? Just like something weird, like a video game that's a food that you eat or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd be like, this is weird to me. Yeah.
Why am I eating Mario? I don't get it. All right. Well, shall we do the next one?
The next one.
It is from Andre.
The subject line is Unreal Engine episode. Hey, this is Andre again. I just sent an email to Mike talking about how you guys should do an Unreal Engine episode, because I just learned that so many cool games have been made using this engine, such as the Batman Arkham series, Borderlands, Fortnite, and even Mortal Kombat and Injustice. Also, Tony Hawk Pro Skater used the Unreal Engine to make their game, which is awesome, I think. I love you guys' show, and I think you should do a crossover show with Too Much Information podcast. You guys are a lot like them, and I think you guys would have fun talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie together. I also compare you guys to Chuck and Josh on Stuff You Should Know podcast, which is probably the best podcast ever, but that's because they've been doing it forever. Love your show. Listen to you guys all the time. Hope you have a great new year. Your video game friend fan, Andre. Thanks, Andre.
Thank you, Andre. That is a very nice comparison. I love Stuff You Should Know. That's a great podcast.
Yeah.
And honestly, when we started this podcast, that's kind of something I wanted, is for you and I to have that kind of rapport. And I think we do that naturally anyway. But those guys have been doing it forever. Oh, man. And their podcast is so good. I was listening to the one on the Loch Ness Monster today. It's great. It's perfect.
That's cool. That's so fun. Thank you. Those are nice comparisons.
Also, I would talk to anyone about the Super Mario Brothers movie, because it's a piece of artistic genius.
That's right.
Not the new one, the old one.
So many games use the Unreal Engine too. You're right.
It's nuts. And honestly, I feel like if you're like dabbling in game development, like I kind of look at stuff all the time because I'm just curious about it. Mm-hmm. The Unreal Engine's never been easier to learn and use.
Yep. Yeah, it gets easier and easier all the time. It's very cool. They have a lot of like visual programming stuff that you can do a lot of programming without actually writing code, which is cool too.
Yeah, it's really cool. So look into that if you're interested in that kind of thing. So I guess we got to do something on the Unreal Engine, though. We got to talk about it. We've gotten 2 recommendations.
Yep.
So we're doing it. Okay. Last email before we talk about what we've been playing is from Kevin from Buffalo, Wyoming. Very important. It's not New York.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a Buffalo in Wyoming.
Hi, Mike and Tyler. Thank you guys for the excellent work you do for the Codex podcast. I have listened to more than half of the episodes and really enjoy the nostalgia and historic insights you share. You each have a gift in storytelling, and you both have a fun dynamic together. Many heartfelt thanks for what you have and continue to put into Codex. Spider Bunts, Kevin from Buffalo, Wyoming. Thank you. That's so nice. Kevin. It's just a little compliment. We had compliment sandwich, but it's like the meat and stuff was on the bottom. We just put 2 slices of compliment bread on top of each other. It was perfect. That's how I eat my sandwiches. So that's great.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the email, Kevin. Thank you, everyone, for your emails. We appreciate it. Let's get into it. Tyler, what you been playing on the holiday week?
I finally finished Gotham Knights, the story of it. I like it. I know it's getting not a lot of love on the internet. But it does get a little grindy at the end. Like right as I got to like the last mission, last story mission and one of the other side missions, the last part of it, I hit like a difficulty spike that actually made me have to go like grind levels, which was very strange in this like action game to be like just stopping crime, like grinding, like just like random encounters
of crime. That is really weird. That doesn't match the genre at all.
Yeah, so that was pretty strange. But once I did it, I massively over leveled for it, which is like kind of fun to do too in games like that. So then I easily took down the last couple bosses, and it was good. I enjoyed it. And so I've also started High on Life also. 'Cause that's on Game Pass.
You started it.
I did,
Yay.
yeah. I started playing that yesterday, and I played it for an hour and a half or 2 hours or something. So I'm a little bit in. It's not very long, as I understand. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Did you shoot the glob shot out of his trick hole?
Yep.
Nice. Just gonna leave that there. Just gonna leave that hanging.
That's kind of it. I think that's all I've really been playing. I did buy a Miu Mini, which I think I don't know if I told you about that, Mike, yet.
Was that the thing you were watching on AliExpress to see if you could pick one up, and you got one?
I got one. So it's a little emulator that's very small, like smaller than a pack of cards probably, and it plays emulator games up to like PlayStation. I don't think it does N64. It doesn't have joysticks, so you probably wouldn't want to do N64 anyway, but it'll play kind of up through PlayStation. It's very small. It's like just a device that's just dedicated to this. Doesn't even have Wi-Fi. So I'm like looking forward to playing through some old Game Boy games, Super Nintendo games.
That's what you're going to play Time Splitters on, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah. I'm playing Time Splitters on this little tiny Game Boy. So that hasn't got here yet though. But it probably will be here maybe soon. Maybe by the time you hear this, I'll have my Miu Mini. So I'm pretty excited for that. What have you been playing, Mike?
Well, it's been a big week because it's the end of the year, and I'm like, you know what? I got some games to beat. So I beat High on Life, beat that, which is very fun, but I don't want to say anything about it because I want to spoil it for you. But I just love the progression you get of the guns, and it's just really quick. It's just a fun, quick little jaunt.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of The Outer Worlds in that way, because that game's like 12 hours. This one's a little shorter than that, but it was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted. Just a little fun, funny adventure, and then you're done. That's great. That's
what's really nice about stuff like Game Pass is because you're paying the subscription, you can just play stuff that you're not unsure about, but also it's okay for just like, it could just be a short thing. Like I would play something on Game Pass that was like really fun for an hour and not feel bad about that at all, you know? I think Game Pass is really cool for shorter stuff like that. Although it is like 9 hours, which is a full game's length, I suppose, but still.
Yeah. The other thing I beat Black Mesa finally.
Oh, nice.
And I got to say, what they've done to redo the whole Zen levels, because they actually, like the levels in the facility, in the Black Mesa facility, are just like kind of remastered. But the Zen is almost completely new. Like everything about it is different. And
That's cool.
The changes they made are really good. I really enjoyed it. But it kind of just cut out some of the slog. It was still kind of long, but the Gonarchs fight, like their lair, is changed a lot, and I really liked that. It was very tense. It was a very intense gaming experience, but I loved it.
That's good. I'm glad they changed that, because that's sort of historically one of the weaker parts of the original Half-Life. Is just like you get to Zen and it kind of looks like they kind of rushed it by that point. It feels
100%. There was they still have jumping puzzles, but they're not nearly as unforgiving as they were in the original. After playing them both, I can attest to that. So that was really fun. And then other games I've played this week, I did make a lot of progress in Pokemon. I think I'm over halfway with all the gyms and the Titans and the star bases. So making good headway on that. Played some New World, which has been fun as well.
Nice.
Like played some of the multiplayer modes on New World, which I hadn't really done before, and that's pretty fun to do. And then, I haven't touched Destiny at all, which is hilarious because we're in a new season, and I just don't care.
Yeah, I haven't touched
don't
it
care
either.
at all.
I really
which
need
is a
to.
bummer because like I paid for this content. This is the problem with like paying for the deluxe edition that gives you the season pass, is you then feel like FOMO'd, guilted into playing this game, which is a terrible feeling. But hey, maybe I'll pick that up tonight. Maybe I'll just blast through the seasonal content. Because if I just play the seasonal content, which is like maybe a half hour to 45 minutes a week, I got my money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's been pretty fun. But I think that's going to be pretty much it for the day today. There are some new fun changes with our website, codexpodcast.net. For example, if you go there now, not only can you send us an email directly to the show, but you can also join our Discord. There is a link below the episodes container that has all of our recent episodes in it. It has the most recent 10 episodes. Below that, you'll see a Discord button where if you click that, it's just an invite. Never expires. That way you can join our Discord. If you want to send us an email, you can do that at codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com or go to codexpodcast.net, click on the contact form. That works too. Either one. We got so many options now to contact us. But Tyler's also on Twitter at SneakerElf. I'm on Twitter at MeColetta. I think that's it. Did I just nail it? Did I just nail the plugs?
I think you did, yeah. Good job.
Thank you so much. Well, with that, do you want to say bye to everybody, Tyler?
Goodbye, everybody.